met that dude, Duke the Jeweler, the night before. We was gambling. The next day, dude followed us to the concert. When we left out the concert, we under the garage. Dude went to his car by himself and walked down to the parking lot. Man, Lord.
They could get their money back was however their money back. He said, but Lil Cam Wolf and Big Caprice are the three. I'm up, I got the next, and they passed the dice to each other, but they loaded, but they shooting against them up. In town.
Boosie just fired some heavy shots at J. Prince Jr. And let's be clear, this ain't some light back and forth. This is about Duke the Jeweler and that deadly setup that's been hanging over the streets since 2022. Now J. Prince Sr. is stepping in, and the situation's spiraling even deeper into chaos. For years, folks pointed straight at Boosie, swearing he lined Duke up, said he was the one who played him dirty. But Boosie's done keeping quiet. Now he's putting names out, exposing real ties, and shifting the spotlight on the ones who were actually pulling the strings. Mob ties.
We met that dude, Duke the Jeweler, the night before. We was gambling. The next day, dude followed us to the concert. When we left out the concert, we under the garage. Dude went to his car by himself and walked down to the parking lot.
The internet's losing it. And the feds? They're circling again. But here's the real question. Who actually put that whole setup together? Let's rewind back to November 2022. Duke the Jeweler, a respected 29-year-old, gets gunned down in what authorities called a robbery right after leaving Boosie's concert in Houston. And just like that, rumors exploded everywhere.
They get lined up.
Any real dude that's ever really been in LA, he checked in. Any real dude that's ever been in Atlanta, he checked in. If you moving and you getting money, you gonna check in because you need to know the right places to be and places not to be. That's a businessman.
Whispers started flying that Boosie either orchestrated the whole thing or knew exactly who was behind it. Word on the streets was the guys who ambushed Duke weren't just some random stick-up crew. They were tied to Boosie, family close type of ties. While the internet pushed that theory hard, Boosie stayed quiet. But the streets? They didn't stop. They kept pointing fingers, digging, and speculating. For months, that version was the only one people believed. But now, the spotlight's shifting, landing on someone who's been staying low-key in the cut this whole time. J. Prince Jr., the son of Houston's so-called hip-hop godfather. While Boosie carried the blame, the real puppet master might have been hiding in plain sight. And now, that mask is slipping quick. This doesn't just look shady, it looks like it was designed from day one.
Everybody be checking in. That's y'all favorite thing to do, check in with somebody that's gonna rob your stupid ass.
Wow.
Yo, you think that guy, the guy that you don't know in California got your back?
See, Boosie was never the one in control. He was the perfect fall guy, allegedly. Why? Simple, he was there. He performed that night, maybe even invited Duke. And yeah, people claimed Duke's Louis Vuitton bag somehow ended up in Boosie's spot. But that doesn't prove motive. It only proves proximity. And that's exactly why he was the easiest to frame. The fall guy is always the one already caught up in legal drama. And Boosie, he fit that role perfectly.
That occurred that a certain jeweler round and got past the dice on accident and was hitting all them for a couple hundred because, right, boom. The only way they could get their money back was however their money back. Lil Cam Wolf and Big Caprice are the three designated to say I'm up, I got the next, and they passed the dice to each other, but they loaded, but they shooting against them up.
Boosie's name been carrying baggage for years. Gun cases, the Terry Boyd situation, all those headlines that just won't let him breathe. Even when he beat the charges, people still kept him stamped with trouble. In the streets and in the court of public opinion, it was like he was already guilty. All they needed was another wild story to pin on him. But this time, Boosie's done staying quiet. He's calling names, pulling no punches, and saying it straight with his chest.
Prince, over the years, the decades of doing whatever he's doing, he's been having a way of brainwashing people.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and he ain't holding back. J. Prince Jr., y'all really tried to line me up, just like that. According to Boosie, he barely even knew Duke. They crossed paths at a dice game. Random. Next day, Duke shows up solo at Boosie's concert. And just hours later, Duke's gone, taken out in what they're labeling a robbery in some parking lot. But hold on, something about that timeline just don't add up.
Industry, these street homie, that's projecting these rules and then coming here playing like they admirable men with street rules and street ethics. Nah, homie, them look was set up that night.
Boosie isn't sugarcoating it. He's flat out calling this a setup. And people are listening because Duke wasn't hit in Baton Rouge. He was gunned down in Houston. And Boosie doesn't run Houston. But guess who does? J. Prince Jr. even. Folks in H-Town are jumping online defending Boosie, with one user saying, if you're from Houston, you know what went down. Boosie had nothing to do with it.
You heard Junior was the father, and after your mom did her due diligence, what was your thought?
I think that this girl that had the baby, I think she used to work around Junior. So I believe bro bumped into her around Junior, you know what I'm saying?
One person asked the obvious. Why would Boosie set up a robbery in a city he ain't even from? That's bold and wild. Finally, people are starting to think with sense instead of chasing clout. And the spotlight? It's shifting because Boosie wasn't the one at that dice game. J. Prince Jr. was. The same man accused of running Houston's street politics, making everyone check in just to move around his city.
Man,
That's not just influence, that's control. Word is, if you're an artist, rapper, or even an influencer, you don't touch down in Houston without tapping in with the princes. That's the rule.
it's called something, some dudes tried to rob him. Some dudes tried to rob him. I had just met dude yesterday. We was in a garage. He must have walked outside to the parking lot. We was in a garage. We heard this.
But here's the problem. Duke did check in, and he still ended up gone. That's not safety, that's predatory. Because this check-in game, it's not about protection, it's about control. And Duke isn't the only one. Take off. Same. Story, checked in, still lined up. And out west, rumors say Big U is allegedly running the same hustle. Don't check in, and you're a target.
About him, he's a clown. Like, I love the hip-hop culture. I'm in love with the hip-hop culture. Blood, sweat, and tears went in my movement for the hip-hop culture.
Suddenly, the pattern's clear. Artists slip up, and it keeps happening. Even PMBB Rock, allegedly playing by the rules, still got caught up. And Schoolboy Q? He said it straight. Rappers are getting robbed by the very people they're supposed to be checking in with. Not protection, straight up extortion, disguised with a friendly smile. The Duke the Jeweler case, it's screaming suspicious again. That dice game? Not friendly, it was a trap. Fatal, filthy, and Boosie, he was the bait, never the one calling shots. Then things exploded when Whack 100 jumped in, loud, raw, unfiltered. He confirmed what everyone had been whispering. That dice game was rigged, and Duke wasn't robbed, he was targeted. And Whack, he's pointing at J. Prince Jr.'s crew. Name-dropped Lil Cam, allegedly running a dice table where the odds were never fair. A game where the house always wins unless someone notices. That night, Duke walked into a setup without even realizing it. One wrong move, one dice he shouldn't touch, and the whole plan blew up. Mess with a rigged game built on ego, power, and stacks of cash. Someone's gonna pay. Duke paid with his life. According to Whack, J. Prince played a long game, pretending to protect, but quietly pulling strings from the shadows. It's not respect, it's control from behind the scenes. And Whack wasn't alone. Charleston White stepped in too, not holding back. He said Duke's death hit different, not just because of his talent, but because it should never have happened. Charleston called out the mob culture in Houston, saying it created an environment that isn't just dangerous, it's deadly. Artists think checking in means safety. Nah, it's a loaded game where everyone around you could be a shark. Duke didn't die for disrespect. He died for trust. He checked in with the wrong people, walking into a set game without even knowing it. Charleston didn't stop there. He dragged the whole industry, calling it glorified extortion, a twisted street code where silence is survival. Most rappers are too scared to even whisper the truth. He said it plain. Duke's death wasn't random. It was ritualistic. A warning. Even 50 Cent threw subtle heat. Didn't say much, but the posts? Cryptic clips, shady captions, quiet support for Boosie, enough to make the streets side-eye the situation harder than ever. Then came the Finesse 2x drama. It sent the internet spinning. Rumor is, Jay, Prince Jr. allegedly got Finesse's girl pregnant. And Finesse? He wasn't quiet either. Loud, emotional, done with the whole mob ties connection. Silence equals guilt, and this rumor was screaming. Jay Prince Jr. didn't deny a thing. Not a word to stop the whispers. The same man who once bragged about mob ties ghosted them. Cold silence, awkward vibes, loyalty dead. Now the fans are watching the empire unravel. Take off, Boosie calling out names, Finesse's fallout. Whose name keeps popping up? Jay Prince Jr. The internet isn't buying the silence anymore. It's too loud. People are starting to see the empire built on fear and influence cracking. One fan wrote, Jay Prince set up so many people. He's had folks taken out for less. Another, Jay Prince did it, not Boosie. And Duke the jeweler, he wasn't. Just a flashy dude in diamonds, a self-made king from Chicago. No handouts, no label favors, just grind, skill, and vision. Started in a tiny studio in the early 2000s, sketching designs by hand, then built an empire. Vogue spreads, elite red carpets, Rihanna, King Von, 50 Cent. Even Boosie rocked his pieces. Duke's creations, not just shiny, they were statements. Legacy, that made him a threat. When power meets independence, somebody always feels uncomfortable. Duke didn't just walk into the wrong room, he walked into a lion's den wearing gold, shaking hands already stained in blood. That room? Not a dice game. A high-stakes trap hosted by Jay Prince Jr. Sources say he ran the table that night, cleaned out the spot, walked away with over $100 grand. But that win may have sealed Duke's fate. Hours later, Duke was robbed, stripped of his jewelry, cash, phone, and shot. Multiple times. Execution style. The industry is still reeling. Boosie is fighting to clear his name, showing raw reaction in footage after Duke's passing. Wrecked, speechless, blindsided. But now Jay Prince Sr. is swinging, throwing shots at Boosie, flipping the narrative. The streets aren't buying it. Not after Takeoff got taken out in the same city, coroner reporting multiple head and torso shots. That's no stray bullet. It's intentional. Jay Prince Sr. even clapped back at Whack 100, calling him a clown loud. But online, people say Jay's dodging the real smoke, because this isn't just Boosie or Duke. It's a system built on fear, silence, fake protection, where artists check in just to move through a city they don't even control. Self-made bosses like Duke ain't safe once they walk into the wrong room. Duke's death didn't just shake the jewelry game, it exposed how twisted the game really is. Boosie says he was the bait. Finesse 2 times, Takeoff, checked in, still didn't make it home. And now, Jay Prince Sr. scrambling to hold it together. But this is only the beginning. Who's next to speak or vanish? If you're feeling this breakdown, like, comment, share, and subscribe to stay locked in. More is coming. And trust, it only gets deeper from here. Catch you in the next one.